What is Give It All and how is it that we got started is a question that we're constantly asked. So today we're here at the House of Yuri to share our story. Let's go on upstairs.
When we've run 23 successful events, then maybe there's more than luck. There's system in place, there's thoughtfulness, there's idea, vision, missions.
So in this episode, we're going to be covering how Give It All became the #1 best voted networking event. I think there's a combination of intentionality, a whole lot of what to pay attention to if you're creating your own event.
What would you say is our hidden ingredient?
Anyone that's really craving a community is trying to fill a void of belonging within themselves. And how to build a really strong connected community that's going to love turning up time and time again.
So what's our secret spice? Daniel, we've hosted now more than 23 Give It All events across actually 3 continents in 3 countries, and we're coming up to our 24th one here in Bali. And on stage, you always share how it happened, why we created Give It All, but we've never actually sat down to share the real and whole story of what is Give It All and how it happened. So I would say, let's have a sip of a coffee, cheer to that, and dive into that story. What do you think?
What do I think? Yes, there's always bits of the story I feel like I get to share. And I never know what bits to share when somebody asks me. So hopefully you can guide me on pulling out the wisdom, the value. I'd love to share how it is that we got started, what was the inspiration, all the common questions that I always get asked, the thinking behind it, because I was very intentional with what it is that we created. I think there's a combination of intentionality and a whole lot of I don't know whether it was just getting lucky or it's like a whisper from the gods that came in and said, just do this. And I followed that and it just seemed to work. But there's so much learning along the way. So where is it that you'd love to start?
Well, maybe with the fact that you can get lucky once, maybe twice. But then when we've run 23 successful events, then maybe there's more than luck. There's system in place, there's thoughtfulness, there's idea, vision, mission. So it's way above just luck. So I would love to start with what is Give It All, because for maybe some of our new audience, they don't know what we're even talking about.
Yeah, Give It All. Speaking and networking event. I think it's become so much more than just a speaking and networking event. It was certainly designed for more than that. So going back, what was it, over 2 years now to traveling around together, 2.5 years, which is wonderful. Like traveling is amazing, but for those that have traveled for extended periods of time, one of the big challenges is not having a network, not having a community, not having consistency with friendships and relationships. And so I think we're both craving that. We work really well together and I love that, but it's like we need something more outside of our relationship. So when we landed in Medellín back a couple of years ago, it's like, all right, let's go and find our community. Let's go and find our network. Let's go and find the people that we can build with and have fun with and build lifestyle around. And still, we knew it was only going to be for 3 or 4 months. But still, we wanted some more of some kind of consistency.
And I think also it had grown already, this feeling and desire of having community and friends, because before that, if you remember, we were in Mexico, before that in Dominican Republic, and all the events we went to, I remember this Mexican rooftop networking event. We were, okay, let's do it. Let's just go out. Let's not stay at home, go socialize. And we went to that networking event and it was just like the side look, okay, what time are we leaving? Because it was just so bad. So by the time we moved to Colombia, we were already ripe for new friends, community.
Medellín is an amazing city for entrepreneurs. I think there's a big overlap with Florida, Miami. So people are doing business, but still going out to networking events. Okay, takes a lot for me to go out. I think for both of us to go out and to really invest time, effort, and energy going and meeting people and finding the community. For me, it's a lot of effort. And one of the big, I think like there's an opportunity cost or there's a risk of going out. At least in my mind, going, is this event going to suck? And it's like, well, you don't know until you go. You got to just kind of trust that it's going to be good. And we did it over and over again, and they all sucked.
Yeah.
It was so disappointing. I was like,
we tried. Yeah. In our defense, I really want to say we tried. We're not people who actually really are the most social people, but when we want to put the effort, we tried. So we went, I think, twice a week out in different networking events in Medellín.
Yeah.
And it was just as bad every time.
Well, like, I suppose it could be good for some people, but it really reminded me of like a watered down or like an awkward version of my corporate networking days of going to like some chamber of commerce or whatever. And everyone talking about like what it is that they do and trying to like subtly or directly just pitching their products to you. Or like, and then we'll go to a speaking event and somebody standing on the stage giving you bits and pieces of value and then going, okay, now buy my program. I'm like, it just feels so gross. Like it just didn't feel like the vibe. And I really just craved going and meeting people. I think humans are craving connection more than ever before. And how do we connect? We don't connect over trying to sell each other products and services and doing business. That's a big part of what I wanted to create, especially for myself. I really wanted to get on the stage and build my authority, so essentially it could build my business. But I knew that had to come second or third, or like the first thing was building trust with other people. And I was like, well, how can we create an event where it's really going to be built on the values? And I've learned this over the last couple of years, is my core values are connection and collaboration. And so back then I knew that I wanted to create an event that was going to really bring people together and connect and collaborate with each other. If we're able to do that very quickly off the bat with people, then I knew that business was going to be a byproduct of that. Collaborations, whether it's business collaborations or like, we had people moving in together, people going on dates, dinner dates afterwards. I still joke to this day that we haven't had any give it all marriages or babies yet, but I feel like that's coming. It's coming because yeah.
But because you're diving already into the what in terms of like, okay, what we've had and how, but how did that event actually happen? So we were so hungry for a good community, and then there was the thought of, okay, fuck this, we're just gonna do something on our own. So let's go back to that, because you're already jumping into the outcomes of what we've done after we brought people together. So what was going on there?
So creating the first event. Actually, yeah, that's a good part of the story, is I was like, all right, on my mission, on my search for finding a good event to be part of, I found this. I was through a network, through the networking, maybe it was WhatsApp. And it was this event called Pitch It. And I was like, oh, this looks like a cool event. It had a different format than what I'd ever seen before. And so I messaged the host, and turned out to be Francois, which people in our community should know pretty well by now. And he messaged me back. He goes, "Oh, sorry, bro. We haven't done that event for a year. I don't even live in Medellín anymore."
And you were excited because it sounded like an event that might be it.
Yeah.
Right?
I was like, "This is gonna be it." And like the way the language was, and the vibe that came out of it. And this is only just through the text. And so, however it happened, I'm not sure. We jumped on a Zoom call, and it turned out Francois, him and I, we had a very similar kind of backstory of meeting our partners in Bali and traveling around the world and doing these different things. And he ended up, and he's also a coach, and he wanted to speak on stage, and he wanted to be more of a demonstration for what he wanted. And it was like, you're speaking my language. I feel like I'm looking in the mirror. And I said to him, it's such a shame that I can't be part of this event. I really want to be part of it. Like, why? Can you come back and create it? And he looked at me and he said, bro, if you want it, just go and create it. It's yours to take. Here's the format. And I was like, I don't know whether I can do that. All the self-doubt came up and whatever. And I don't know, I haven't got coaching from him, but I feel like he's a pretty good coach. He just very quickly said, bro, if you want it, go and create it. Like, be the demonstration you want to see in the world. And I was like, all right. And there was another part of me that was thinking maybe it's the more the ego part of me that wanted to say, yeah, I can do better than what's out there. And when I thought, if I can do better, well, isn't that my responsibility to go and do better? So that's where we started. We're like, okay, fuck it. let's go. Let's do something. Give it a go. And I think that's where the name came from, actually. I knew that, so his event was called Pitch It, and I didn't want to create a pitch event. I wanted to follow the structure, but I didn't want an event where people are standing on the stage pitching themselves. So somebody said to me, I learned this through having my other business, Parallax Transformations, is you need a name that's going to say, or in the name, it describes the vibe that you want to create. And it has to be rememberable. It has to be easy. And if you're creating domains, you need to know how to spell it. And I got all those points wrong when I created Parallax Transformations. I have trouble trying to spell it. And people are like, what is that? I got to explain it every single time. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that. So I thought, if we're going to create an event, like I want to create a vibe where we're coming in and we're giving it all, especially if it's talking about public speaking. Like that's hard. It's really scary. So the vibe is, like, give it a go, but let's name it Give It All, because that's what we're really doing.
I actually remember the day. I can't point the exact date, but I think that the conversation of the event was already going on with Francois. You were already considering how it's gonna go and how the structure would be. And I think that the name was still lacking, though. You were reviewing a few different options, and I think then you listened to a song or you went through something. And you're like, the event's gonna be called Give It All. I'm like,
Actually,
Give It All.
true.
That's an interesting name for an event. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever.
So there is that's a good point. Is for those that I don't know, 90s punk rock fans familiar with Rise Against before they became very more pop style. So they've got a song called Give It All, and it's a heavy kind of rock. It's not traditional punk, but it's a heavy. And it's not metal either, but it was the time that I was just coming off the back of COVID. I was sick for so long and it sucked, and I was just getting my energy back, and I was at the gym and I was running on the treadmill, and this Give It All by Rise Against came on, and it just gave me such power. I was like, yes, it was just like, fuck yeah, let's go. And so I was like, that's the vibe that I want to bring into this event. So I was like, Give It All. Yeah.
Okay, now it makes sense because you came and you even played a song to me, and I'm like, oh my god.
Probably not your song.
What is this? What is, because I obviously don't like that much that style. And I was like, oh my god, here we go again, Daniel with his rock music style. But that was it.
Yeah.
It just came to you, and you knew automatically that our event that even hadn't happened yet was going to be called Give It All.
Give It All. I think there's a piece also that's worth mentioning between all of that is we've been traveling for 2 years. I've been speaking on different stages around the world, different nomad events, hosting or helping co-facilitate retreats. And so I was comfortable with speaking. At this stage, I was kind of wanting to put down coaching for a little bit and chase the speaker circuit and really develop myself as a speaker authority. And so creating a stage to speak on, it's really hard to become a speaker, by the way, as well. I don't know. I still don't know how to do it. And so after 2 years it was probably about 18 months of trying to give it a go, I was like, well, I want stage time. How am I going to can I take responsibility to give myself that stage time? So I wanted to create an event to stand on stage, but I also knew that no one knows me. Why would they give a shit about me? I could host a workshop that maybe 7 people will turn up to. That's not going to create the authority that I'm looking for. And so I sat with that, and that's where, with the help of Francois and his format, gave me the suggestion of going, well, it's almost like, the model with Uber, and, like you need the drivers and you need the customers and you need them to come together at the exact same time. You can't build one without the other. And so that's where I got the idea of going, okay, well, if I make an event about everyone else, and this is a facilitation framework, I've learned this and developed this and demonstrated this a lot throughout my career, is make it about the audience, make it about everyone else. So in this case, our audience is going to be speakers, because there's a whole group of people that are just like me that would love to stand on stage but have never had the opportunity. If I can make it about them and give them the space to share their story, their wisdom, their insights, their experience, I think they'll be hugely grateful for that. That's a very attractive offer. I'd love if somebody offered me that. I'd be like, hell yeah, I want to be part of that. And then I knew, or at least I trusted, that those people are likely to have friends, that they're going to go out and say, hey, I'm speaking at this event. Would you like to come and support me? And their friends are going to go, of course. And that's what's going to help build our audience. And so that's where the format, and that was again with the help of Francois and what would already be modeled, is like, okay, this is how we can do it. And so I made it about everyone else. I made it about the speakers. I made it about the audience that will go in there to support the speakers. And I knew that, there's a saying that if you take care of everyone else's dreams, your dreams will get, or you take care of enough dreams, your dreams will get taken care of along the way. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to do the best that I can to make our speakers awesome and to facilitate an event that our audience is going to love through those values of the connection and collaboration. And I was like, somehow it'll work itself out. And it really did. Somebody pointed out, who's got the most, and this didn't occur to me at the time, but a while later, somebody said, well, who gets the most stage time? And at the end of the day, well, it's me, because I'm on stage in between every speaker, up and down, back and forth. And so it was all like, I ended up getting the authority, even though I wasn't a speaker, but I built the authority through bringing everyone together. And so it really, it took me way longer. Like, I guess I guessed that, but it took me way longer to actually see that come into practice than what I would have liked, as a reward for what it is that we're doing, because the first events definitely weren't easy to continue with.
So, I mean, there's so much to cover, but let's talk about the structure. So currently we have 5-minute speeches. We give the stage to 8 speakers usually. Each of them have 5 minutes on the stage. And then before we kick off the event, we have 45 minutes networking. Then we have 4 speakers. Then we have 30 minutes or 45, depends on the venue, networking again. And then we have another 4 speakers coming on stage. And can you walk me through the challenges of picking up the speakers or selecting them? And I remember now we have obviously more certainty in Bali because we have the packages and we are in control of what's going on, have connection and communication to our speakers. But back in Medellín, it was like a magic trick. Is somebody going to show up or not? And maybe it's important to mention why this is such a factor, because the whole event was free for the audience, for the speaker, for pretty much everybody. And we didn't know if our speakers were going to show up, if anyone who had registered show up. So can you go back to to those days, where we had hundreds of people on the list and then no speakers?
Yeah, well, it's that challenge of bringing 2 groups together, right? It's the speakers and the audience. But with a brand new event, there is a certain level of just like, do the best that you can and hope. I'm not a big advocate for using hope as a strategy, but there's a level of it, because like, all you can do is the best that you can. And so to begin with, I went and found every single WhatsApp group, every single Facebook group, every single online event page, and I listed everywhere, and I DM'd everyone. Like, I literally did hundreds of DMs. So firstly, I had to find speakers. So it was reaching out.
Maybe if I can interrupt you there. So if you guys are starting an event, obviously this is where we're going into now, how to get audience. But to add on that, how we actually filled the first room or found the first speakers, it was pretty much everybody and nobody that we knew. We would reach out and invite them to be a speaker. And it all started from me going to a tennis game with a local Colombian guy who happened to invite us to another, sports event where we happened to meet a bunch of amazing people. And here we are, suddenly we've seen them for like once or twice. And we're like, hi, do you want to be a speaker? Hi, can you join us for our event? So it was literally not from scratch, but from 0 with people we've met once or twice.
It's happened a lot of times, actually. So going back to what I mentioned, there's so much DMing and so like all of that, the hard work. And that's what I mean by the lucky connections. And maybe like there is a certain amount of luck, but I think luck is the combination of perseverance and opportunity. And so that was I was there persevering, and there was this opportunistic element of it that you met the right person that connected you to another person. And they always say, one connection can change anything or change everything. And that was the fact in that one. And so the person that we connected with, he was a really successful Colombian entrepreneur that had a whole lot of other really successful Colombian entrepreneurs and well-connected people that really loved to support each other. And so he was like, sure, I'll speak. And he had another friend that was a professional speaker or host of events. And he goes, sure, I'll speak. And then their whole group of friends that love supporting each other, they came. And as soon as you get some people that are anybody's, then it automatically elevates you in the room, the quality of the audience, everyone comes along. And so that first event, I don't know, I think a lot of it goes down to that really lucky sequence of events that just put us on the map really quickly. I think we had
50 people on the first event.
We had 100 people sign up through Eventbrite, and But with a free event, you don't know how many people are going to show up. You never know. Like, if you get a 50% show rate on a free event, you're doing pretty well. Short break for our community here in Bali. We've secured a partnership here with the House of Yuri. If you use the code GiveItAll26 at checkout, you get amazing exclusive community discounts to enjoy such an amazing podcast studio such as this, and of course the best coffee, specialty coffee in Canggu. So we'll see you here or in Give It All very shortly. Back to the episode.
And we are in a brand new venue. Never done events that as well. We literally put the venue on the map. They never had done anything like that. So we were pretty much not only organizing ourselves, organizing audience and speakers, we were organizing the stuff on site, how things are going to go. We were doing the technology like mic checks, music checks. We were running the music too. And then how the kitchen should be running too, when they should be serving drinks, when they shouldn't. It was so many levels of how to run an event.
I remember the first conversation with Maria at the event. So Kim living in Medellín, El
Sending
Poblado.
love, by the way.
Yeah, it's a really great location. I love seeing now on Instagram how many amazing events they're running there. I think Give It All really put it on the map for them because they didn't have anything running before us. And I remember the first conversations that I had with Maria is like, I had to bring like 100% more certainty than what I really felt inside. It kind of felt like a bit of bullshit, but at the same time, I've got this integrity that I'm like, it was an extension, like it was a bullshit extension that I felt like, okay, I'm putting the goalpost right out there and I'm going to do my really fucking best to go for it.
And if you remember, before they approved the event, actually, so you decided we wanted to do the event, but before they approved it, not only the general manager had to approve it, we had to go 3 levels further to the business owners, whether they want to do that event. And you were selling the tits out of it, even though we didn't have any proof of record that it's going to be bringing any revenue. It's going to be bringing any popularity, any people. We had no idea, but you were like, this is going to be amazing. And I remember these conversations. I remember sitting with Maria and you were like, no, we're going to make it. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be this and that. And we've never, ever done this before.
Well, there is, like I'm not going in totally blind. So I do have a background in hospitality. My degree is in hospitality management and a major in marketing. So there's that part of it. I do have a sales background.
I think it was your sales background. It was just like, don't
worry,
I got it.
Hospitality is really important. Hospitality is a different kind of market than many other markets to understand where the revenue flows come through, how to make money and that kind of thing. So I definitely brought an element of that. The sales ability was really helpful. I think it's really important to also come from a place of collaboration. So that's a big value of mine. But it's amazing how many people want to come and say, oh, I want to come and be part of Give It All. And their attitude when they come in is just like, they're just looking at how they can take from what we've created, the equity of what we've created, the trust of our community. And they're like, yeah, and I can do this and this and this. And I'm like, what are you contributing? It's so single-sided. So one of the things that I learned through sales and through collaboration, and I love collaborating so much. I'm thinking about what's everything, the person that I'm sitting across from, what's everything that they could want? What is it that they need most? How can I help them achieve their biggest objectives? If we can cover all those points, and you've seen this a few times, at the end of the conversation, they're like, so what's in it for you? Like this, they're almost like, this seems too good to be true. This is like a scam. And I'm like, well, let me tell you, I just need this, this, and this. And they're like, fuck yeah, that's a no-brainer. Here you go. And so a lot of people don't have that idea. It's not hard to do. You just got to think, what is the other person really wanting? And if you don't know, ask them, what are your biggest challenges? What are your biggest objectives? What are your biggest goals right now? How can we help with that? How can we take care of that or do our part to take care of that for you?
Yeah.
And as soon as you get that across the line, like you put yourself in a really powerful position to really get whatever it is that you want. And so it was a big ask because we didn't have any runs on the board, certainty, demonstration of having done this previously. And we had to shut down their restaurant. This is a restaurant that usually sits
every week.
Well, after the first one, it became easier. We showed that we're able to deliver on the promises that we made. But, and this is another thing that people don't realize is when you close down a restaurant, not only do you have to make the money, you got to cover all of their lost revenue from shutting it down. And so you're like, okay, well, what does that look like? And, running an event even a free event, you still need to generate financial revenue. You got to cover the costs. So that's where there's a bit of strategy. And then the last piece that I'm probably most practiced in is the facilitation. And facilitation is all about, and my passion is all about experience. So that's from when somebody registers for the event, or even before they register for the event, what's their experience of landing on the page for them to go, wow, this looks like something I want to be part of, all the way through to the ticketing, the follow-up, how it is that we condition them to behave before they even get to the room, once they're in the room, how they're going to, and then that's where my face-to-face, like how is it that they're going to respond to our speakers, support, we do standing ovations because that lifts the energy in the room within themselves, but it makes our speakers feel great. Other people in the audience like, wow, I want that experience. And so all the touch points, we're thinking about what the experience is that we're creating. And so I've been doing that for a while. I've got a bit of an idea, but again, I'd never really done it at this level. So I was like, all right, roll the dice, put into practice and see what will come of it. And that first event, it blew me away how successful it was.
It was crazy. Like, even if I look back now, it's insane that on our first night, we had 55 people show up with 8 speakers and we didn't even know what's gonna be it. And then it just started flowing somehow, the snowball effect, and everybody spreading the word across. But the challenges didn't decline. They were every event. It felt like we are starting again and again
for
and
weeks.
again for weeks. Yeah,
for weeks. So for context, we did this every week.
Yeah, every Thursday.
Every Thursday. We're doing this monthly now, and of course we're doing it at a different scale. I don't know how I managed to do this.
I don't know either. Now that I
week.
look at the current Give It All in Bali, I'm like, every week we did that.
Well, I think that's all I really focused on.
Yeah.
At that time, I wasn't really coaching. I wasn't really doing so much of my own business. I was doing sales calls for someone else that was covering the expenses. And in between, when I wasn't doing the sales calls, I was building Give It All, sending DMs and doing what we needed to do. But honestly, I never intended to create this into a regular event. Remember, it was after the first one, it was kind of like, great, I did it.
Okay, we've done it.
We've done it. We've done it. We proved that, I proved to myself that I could do it. I proved to everyone else that it was going to be amazing. I proved that I wanted to set a demonstration of what a great event looks like. I was like, I done it.
Okay.
Good.
No,
now I don't have to do it again. Yeah. But then it was at the end of the event, my friend Josh, who he's such a big supporter, such a big champion.
Sending love to Josh there.
Josh, he was like, well, it's funny because he had his own motives, of course. But he was like, well, and he said this in a nice way. He goes, yeah, well, you did it once. Who cares? Maybe it was you got lucky.
One.
Lucky. You chanced it. You fluked it. Anyone can do something once. And I knew, he was kind of he was intentionally triggering me to go, fuck you, I can do this again. And so it was that. And I was like, all right, well, yeah, good point. I don't want to go away. You planted the seed in my mind. I didn't want to go away and think, I did something once and I got lucky. I got to prove that I can do it again. If you can, I think that's a principle for life in general. If you can do something once, yeah, great. But can you replicate the outcomes over and over and over again? And then can you teach it to someone else to replicate? And I think that's the end loop of the strategy you're learning. It's not until you can teach someone else how you got that success and then get the success. That's when you know that you've already learned it. So I was like, okay, let's do it again. So we started again. I was like, okay, another week. Let's do it. And we did it. We pulled it off and it was just as good. I think I facilitated better, obviously, because I don't think there was any less uncertainty. There was just as much uncertainty because you can have 100 people sign up and it's like, it drove me crazy. A few hours before the event, or even 10 minutes before the event, looking at their attendee list and going, who's going to show up? Who's not going to show up?
And we never knew.
We never knew.
Sure.
We never knew. It was so hard. And even after, we did 7 events in Medellín, and even after the 7th event, every week it would drive me crazy to think, what if no one shows up? What if no one shows up? So anyone that's out there creating events and they have that, I'm like, yeah, it's totally normal. I think every event holder has that feeling. Even now,
we still have it. It's every week we ask ourselves, how many tickets have we sold?
Are we gonna?
Is anybody gonna come? Oh my God, it's gonna be the smallest one ever. Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. What are we gonna
What
do?
if what if no one shows up?
Yeah.
Like at least now we have a 99% attendance rate, but it's because they purchased tickets. Ahead of that, everyone still buys their tickets 12, 24, 48 hours beforehand. Up until that point, we're like, what if no one buys the tickets? So you just have to do everything that you can.
But so before we continue into the depth and then move in the format and going to another country as well, and now being obviously in Bali, if I was somebody who would like to start an event and is listening about this success story of Give It All, what would be the steps that you would give me to make sure that it's not going to be me and my mom and my cousin and the neighbor, but it's going to be actually maybe not a sold out event, but at least a good quality event, and it can stand out in the crowd and I can feel the room.
There's lots of parts to that question. I think, sorry, I just got some delicious bits of walnut for my coffee. Very tasty. Great coffee here, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out to House of Yuri.
Yeah.
Thank you. Probably best specialty coffee in Canggu, would you say?
It's so good, and I'm very picky on coffee, but this is like
This is the go-to spot for you now.
for the soul.
So the first piece, this is probably deeper than what a lot of people would consider off the bat. I've done quite a lot of event design, consulting design. People always ask me, and the reason is I don't really want to necessarily design events for people. That's not my thing. My thing is facilitation. I love facilitating, but one of the biggest challenges as a facilitator, especially as you become more popular and really choosing which events you want to align to, because as we mentioned before, there's a lot of shit events. How do you pick what a good event's going to be? How do you know what a good event's going to be as a facilitator? And so this is what I started realizing. What makes a standout event versus a very mediocre event is the principles that it's built on, and more specifically is the transformational value that it's like the audience has been designed to receive and take away. And so what I mean by transformational value is like when they leave the room, they leave the event that day, the next day, what has really changed within them? What's the experience that has left them fundamentally different forever? And I know that's a big concept. And so it can be a single word. This is not something that you necessarily go out and, well, I never tell our audiences. This is just a design piece of what it is that we want to build the event around. It's the starting point. So as a facilitator, I'll ask people, what's the transformational value? And they're like, well, what's that? I'm like, well, how is it that they're going to leave the room differently? Because until you know what that is, you can't intentionally create that. And so this will come from a combination of two things. I think what your audience's deep inner desires are and what their deep fears are. And so this is avatar work. So for example, Give It All, on the way that we designed it, it was built on connection. And so I was looking at the avatar of the kinds of people, and remember, we built it on wanting to attract the kind of people we wanted to spend time with. I wanted to connect with people. You want to connect with people. So we had to build it on an avatar of people that were really craving connection. And another way to say connection is a sense of belonging. I was craving a sense of belonging, sense of connection, because we're traveling so much. And I knew that if we're working with digital nomads or location independent freelancers, these kinds of people, we all crave the same thing. We've moved away from home. We probably don't have our old best friends. We're just interacting with other people, usually quite service, and we're really deeply craving this connection. So that's the deep desire. And maybe the fears is not feeling like they have a sense of community or sense of belonging. So that was one part of it. And then the other part that we create the transformational value around is what my personal values are. And this is how I discovered, this path of how it is that we design it. I think back when we first created, this wasn't necessarily, I had learned this. I'd learned this through facilitation, but maybe it wasn't as close to front of mind as what it is now, is that I really, throughout my entire journey of life, I always craved connection. And so that was a deep inner value of mine. I didn't know how to necessarily attract it or how to create it. That was a very vulnerable piece of me. And it still comes through in everything that I do today with Give It All. Our audience always says, like, Daniel, I love the sense of connection and collaboration. I've got much better at being vulnerable about that and putting it out there and being the demonstration to lead that, to enable other people to step into it. So the transformational value for Give It All is really a sense of belonging. And so once you create that, whatever the event is, so other examples, like say maybe there's a woman watching this and she wants to create a retreat for women that have felt disempowered. Maybe the transformational value could be just simply hope. Yeah, and like hope that there is more, like there's more for her. It could be a sense of strength. The transformational value is strength, like the work that you do. In the podcast, Not Just As Plus One, is like the inspiration. So I don't know what it would be specifically for you, but it could be a sense of hope, strength, inspiration, something like that. That when your audience listens, they're like, yeah, I am more, I can be more. It's a sense of possibility. And so I don't know whether you've intentionally connected with that previously, but I can see that it's everything that you do is through that lens. And so the experience that people come in and so whether it's your marketing, how you choose your guests, the types of conversation that you have, the way it's positioned, it's all aligning to that. So you know that your audience is going to get that outcome.
Another short break. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you follow us on social media, see where the next event is gonna be, and of course, follow our personal podcast, Not Just His Plus One, and reconnect you with Daniel Lawson. Now back to the episode.
And so, yeah, coming back to the transformational value, that's what we installed within it. And the reason why I say it's so important for any event designer or host to come back to that is then once you know what that is, you can communicate that to your team. You can write it into your copy. You can choose the photos that you're going to have. You know what kind of audience you're going to position it for. Know what kind of audience is not going to be part of it. There is a lot of people that we intentionally, like, not, it's not obvious, but we intentionally push away from Give It All because it becomes our barriers. That it's like we want to keep there's probably more people we want to keep out of Give It All than the people that we want to come in. And it's amazing how well this works. We haven't had any dickheads in our in our events, which is incredible. Like our audience is so amazing. I love it. And that's coming from me personally, but that's also coming from everyone that's ever come in. I talk to everyone. They're like, oh, the people are just so welcoming, and they're there, and the sense of connection and the collaboration and everything. And they're like, wow, how do you bring such an amazing group of people together? And I honestly believe that it comes back to that transformational value piece.
And I love it. And I agree. Yet my rational part and logical part is like, okay, but give me I want to know exactly, because this is just a lot of just this big picture, like, oh my God, this is the vision, the mission. And then I'm thinking, okay, if I had to answer this question, I probably would answer it in a completely different way. So I'm just going to add my perspective on that.
Well, I think you've got a great perspective, and you have a lot of weight because, sure, I'm designing it, but you're doing a lot of the logistics behind the scenes.
And I think that's what makes the difference, because we have obviously different roles in how this event runs. So you are the vision, the dreamer, the driver, and I'm okay, now let's get this thing running. I'm if you're I'm
the manifester and you're the generator, and come together.
Exactly. I feel like I'm the engine inside of, okay, let's go. Yeah. So if I had to answer this, obviously on top of everything you said, because I fully agree, if it's not aligned with who you are, what you do, what's your purpose, mission, and vision, and you just do it it's pretty much in everything, be it business, event, if you do it for, selfish reasons or money per se, just clean money, then it's probably not going to be as great as when you do it from the heart. But if I had to answer this question, I would say the details make such a difference. Like looking at every small thing that you might think is irrelevant, it actually can absolutely influence the experience of the people. Like even the most ridiculous things, but like the temperature of the room, the music, when is it running, what type of music is it, how many distractions are there, the venue, does it suit the vibe, does it suit the atmosphere, what about the colors, do they represent the brand, do we have elements here and there, just on so many levels, the touch points with the brand and with the creators and with the venue, the event itself, they just also wrap up the whole experience. Because imagine Give It All was naked. It didn't have the Give It All visuals, colors, name even, even this already influences how the event comes to life. And then when the event is happening, then we have another set of small things, and then before, but then after, and even touch points to the audience. Like everybody says how amazing you are in communication, and how like they didn't expect that you're gonna be in touch with each and every them individually and answer their questions. So I think from A to Z, this detail, and look for the detail and eye for the detail to make sure that everything is taken care of in the most diverse way. I think that's a secret sauce and secret spice for success in general, but then particularly on the topic of events, if you think something's irrelevant, it probably is quite relevant. And if you notice it, probably other people are noticing it too. And the most, like the best part is when you do things for people that they don't even notice, but when once they do, they understand how much it had influenced them. So as I said, be the music, the air, the temperature, the venue, everything is subconsciously.
I think it's really important for someone starting out. It's hard to get all that right.
For sure.
I want to give like people permission, because when I hear that, I'm like, oh fuck, that's so overwhelming. How do I think of everything? Like it almost turns on the sense of perfectionism within me. Is like, and it's like when you go and start a business, the first thing that you get bogged down for the week or 2 weeks creating a logo. I'm like, the logo is not the most important part. I feel very grateful, very grateful and privileged to have someone like you on the team and doing what it is, because this is your realm of genius, right? And I guess that's why I would never say all those things, because to be honest, I don't know anything about branding or colors or doing all of that. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. But you know, you did that, and that's definitely what has elevated the whole look and the feel and the premium quality of what Give It All is. I wouldn't be able to do that myself. That's not my forte. I facilitate those touch points, and I love that you got such a attention for detail. It's like what you're saying is, in the venue, it took a long time to find the venue here in Bali. I think I still believe it's the only venue that we could do it in. Amavi, they do a great job. We've got a whole team there that build the stage every single event, and they take care of the lighting and the audio, and there's so much in putting up the seating together. There's so much that happens behind the scenes, and there's still things that we struggle with, like, you know, sometimes the bar forgets that they shouldn't be making cocktails while somebody's speaking. And you know, as soon as they get the shaker,
is shouting,
yeah,
orders
making the
between.
orders behind, and you know, like, one, the audience, you feel it. You had like the most vulnerable piece of somebody's story, and then there's someone that's not listening because they're just doing their job, and it just breaks that energy. And so when you hear it and you got to go and take care of it, or the flashing lights, like, that's really distracting. And so yeah, the attention to detail, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think, one, it's probably a learnt skill, and two, you kind of, like, we've done coming up to 24 events. We've learnt that over practice, over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, of course.
I think there's a lot to be said about consistency, doing something so many times. You know, we've come so far since the first event and learnt all those things. There's some kind of embarrassingly obvious things that I've learned, and I look back, I'm like, oh.
Like what?
Like somebody turning up to a 5-minute talk with 50 slides and letting her do it. Well, no, I actually said, no, you can't do that. She got it down to 20 slides. But can you imagine going to a talk and somebody going through 20 slides in 5 minutes? It was a terrible experience. I knew better.
Well, but you will remember it, you know?
It was so dumb.
We'll never forget that speech.
Yeah.
We might have forgotten some good ones, but we're never going to forget the learning out of this one.
Oh, the learning. I can't remember a single thing on that slide. I can't remember.
I remember it all.
Oh, really?
She was hiking mountains and stuff, because I was so
Well, it must
flashed.
have worked then.
I was so flashed of somebody that would just literally tell their story in slides and didn't even care that she was over time, and she just spoke about herself the whole day. I was so impressed.
Yeah. Another one is like, they're just a bit more detailed, like, you know, how we choose headline speakers. There was a recent event where I just didn't do a very good job. I knew that this was going to be an absolute shit show, and I let it work. And yeah, and like
but it needs to happen, right?
It needs to happen.
Like, music needs to fail, speakers need to fail, they need to be reading from their phones, they need to not show up, they need to go in completely off topics for us also to learn of.
Yeah, the big piece that's really important is to take the feedback. You know, if feedback doesn't always come in the form of you know, somebody verbally giving it to you. one of the things that I've become increasingly better at is taking the feedback from just the energy of the audience, expression of the audience, of the energy and the vibe of the room. When that happens and the energy drops, maybe we don't want that to happen. Whether it's from our own facilitation, through, like one of the things, we go 5 minutes, the light goes red, and if somebody's standing on the stage talking for another minute with the red light, you watch the audience, it becomes this like uncomfortable vibe, like, oh, this is awkward. Why are they going on so long? They should be finished by now.
Yeah.
This is shit. So I don't like doing it, but I joke at the start. I'm like, if you're still on the stage when the light's red, I'm going to come and awkwardly stand next to you to like basically make you get off the stage.
Well, I think you do them also partially a favor, because otherwise they have to cringe on their own at the stage versus you are taking the cringe position for them.
That is a bit like that. And so it's holding the frame for the audience. The audience knows that they're taken care of. The energy's taken care of. They don't need to be rescuing anyone. They're there to enjoy the show and then connect in the break. And it's my job to take care of all of that. When there's people speaking in the audience, I tell them, can you please be quiet? And then they keep speaking. This happened in the last event. I'm like, all right, guys, if you want to talk, go out.
Yeah, but so how would you phrase that as as a strategy or tactic or an important detail, like holding the frame?
Yeah.
Because here, I know what you're referring to, but so is it putting the borders, making sure that everybody knows what's going to happen, or how would you describe that for somebody that wants to?
Well, this is getting into facilitator training. There's I don't know, I've done hundreds of hours of facilitator training and thousands of hours of practice. But holding the frame, the whole idea is that I'm facilitating the event. I often will bring a king energy. If you think of a king, like a really healthy, resourceful, functional king is there to lead the kingdom. And the people within the king need to look at the king and go, yeah, he's protecting us. He's got us. Our life it's all taken care of within our kingdom. And so when I'm standing on the stage, I need to know that we're here together. And like, it's not about me being the hero on the journey, the hero on the stage. It's me about like the energy that I bring is how can I make everyone else be the heroes in their own stories, heroes for themselves and for each other. And so if somebody is coming in from the outside that doesn't like contribute to that feeling of like we're all in this kingdom together, they're like an intruder to it. And so I got to protect my kingdom from that intrusion. This is kind of how I'm thinking.
Yeah, I love that.
And so I'm either keeping them out of the kingdom or I'm welcoming them through the gates and go, but these are the conditions of how you're going to enter our kingdom. You're going to come and play the game with us. And so I'll use my people in the kingdom to help that. And so there's different frameworks. Like, if somebody's being a real dick, I'll be like, and I won't do it to make someone feel bad. It's almost like, so another way that you can do it is you reward good behaviors, or you reward behaviors that you want people to demonstrate. So when somebody shares something and I'm also, this is an example, not so much a give it all, but say in a smaller coaching or facilitation, like, so what are you all here for? And somebody says, somebody goes, I'm just here for the free food. I'm like, okay, great. Next person, what are you here for? And they're like, I really want to learn and become the person that I'm born to be, or whatever it is. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. Who else would love to come here and learn and step into more of who it is that they want to become? And everyone's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, give it up for that person. And now the person that just made the silly joke about wanting the food, they're like, oh, I didn't get any applaud for that. I didn't get any significance from that. So now they're going to start gravitating towards what it is that we rewarded. And so we do that with our audience all the time and give people invitations. If they don't want to be part of it, they don't have to. Like, who else is here for this and this and this? And we're using a lot of presuppositions. So there's lots of different ways that we can do it. But again, using the audience, because everyone wants to be part of the crew. Everyone wants to be part of the in crowd. Some people will try to steal the frame and have the crowd go with them. And as a facilitator, that's really important to keep them sort of on my side, because I'm the king. I'm not going to have Pied Piper lead my children off somewhere into the mountains.
So what would you say is our hidden ingredient for having almost sold out events every single time? Now we host it once a month in Bali. We have exponentially increase the number of people who come to see not only us, obviously they don't come only for us, for all the speakers, but the audience, and they keep on coming back and saying that this is one of the best events they've ever been. So what's our secret spice?
I want to go back to really, there is a few different things. There's not just one thing, in my opinion. It's the production, it's the production, it's the quality, it's the elevation of it, it's the positioning. I think having a paid event elevates it. We're in an environment in Bali where there's a lot of free events. Most of them are crappy. It's hard to compete against that. Like, it seems strange. Like, how do you got to compete against crappy events? Well, it's because most people are expecting it to be a crappy event. No one wants to pay you and invest their time, their effort, energy into a crappy event. So the people that we want and we market to here in Bali are so sort of jaded out by all the crappy events that we almost have to convince them that this is worth their time. And I'm not one to convince. I'm just like, just do the best demonstration that we can. They come along 5 months after hearing about us, and they're like, oh, I wish I started coming sooner. Like, this is my favorite thing for this is my favorite activity for the whole month. So that's on the surface, but I'll come back to that transformational value is really important. And I think also, and I get this all the time, I'm starting to accept it more and more, is the way that I facilitate it. And I stand on the stage and I facilitate really from a place of just who it is that I am. And this, people go, can you train other people to do this? You should create the Give It All, almost franchise it and create Give It All outlets around the world. I'm like, I don't know how to do that. Because I facilitate it from a place of so much learned experience of who it is that I am, and really do the best that I can, and just me being authentically me. And when I project that out into the audience, it gives the audience permission to step into that for themselves as well. And that is really a big part of the secret sauce, and I can't describe it really more than that.
Now I want to go and patent Give It All event.
Oh, okay. Maybe we shouldn't open up that.
That's done now. We're definitely doing that. I'm like, oh my God, give it all around the world.
Well, maybe at some stage. There's always different additions that we're layering in, isn't there? But I don't know, maybe at some stage that is...
No, it sits in my head now. It's done.
Great. Okay.
Cool.
But what do you think? What is the secret sauce from your position? Because I think you see a lot more than you see a lot of different things that I don't see.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I ask myself every time. I'm like, what's going on here? Yeah.
What's happening?
It's just so beautiful. But I think what's setting the mood at every event is, first, as you said, the way you show up and you open up on stage, and you usually already in the first few minutes have said how this is gonna go and kind of the mood. And then we have speakers who at this stage, we've done this event so many times, that know they're gonna go naked in front of the audience. They know they're coming on that stage and they're not gonna be a fake person, a mask, a polished themselves. They're gonna give it all, and they don't want to be accepted, but they're gonna do it anyway. They're gonna do it regardless, whether they're gonna be accepted, whether they're gonna be not. And in the majority of the time, of course, they're loved, celebrated, accepted. And when one person already has done it, so you already set the stone, set the mood, you tell the audience that we're going to celebrate each and every speaker in whatever way and shape they show up. And then we have the first speaker and the second, and everybody's already coming like, okay, I'm just gonna give it all to you guys. And I think that even the harshest criticisms and people who are like, what is this, in the audience, just their heart starts melting down, because the human part is coming out of us. It's not just another polished event. It's not just, oh, we're gonna set this beautiful stage, hold the microphones, and we're gonna be full of ourselves and talk about how amazing we are and pitch you my business ideas. Because 99% of our speakers don't do that. 99% of our speakers come with their biggest insecurities, with their secrets that they've never shared. I'm even getting goosebumps. They've never shared publicly, ever. They've never shared even to their friends. And I think on the one side is the atmosphere that we've managed to create for people to come and feel so safe on a stage, to talk to strangers and tell how insecure, problematic, that they were addicts, that they were sick of any whatsoever, that they've quit their corporate job, that they had traumas from their families, and still feel safe. So I think this is a huge, huge part. The speakers feeling safe, and then the audience automatically feels like, oh my God, like I'm seen as well, like I'm validated. So it just this what is the word, like homogenic thing coming together, as you mentioned in the beginning of the conversation, that when you bring the audience and the speakers together, but then they kind of come together on their own, and then you don't even need to tell them how to wingle and mingle and network afterwards. Everybody's like, I want to talk to you. No, I want to talk to you. No, come to me. I need to talk to you. And I think it's just this safe, vulnerable space where we can be humans again. We can cry, laugh, tell about our mother, fathers, and everybody who hurt us and all the insecurities. And instead of, ha ha ha, you know, you're a loser, there's a, I hear you. And it's just this safe space for everybody.
It's such an important piece of the whole thing. I think when people create events, a lot of speakers, I see this with speakers, but I think this is also important for facilitators as well, and even podcast hosts. I was having this conversation on a podcast yesterday, or after a podcast yesterday, is a lot of people get into this business or into these niches from a place of making it about themselves, filling their own cup, like so. And you know, I've done this in the past as well. It's like anyone that wants to create a community, I've seen this, and I'm yet to be proven wrong. Anyone that's really craving a community is trying to fill a void of belonging within themselves. And I'll coach on this really fast, and people are like, "Wow, how'd you know that?" Yeah. And I was like, because this is the equation to it. So then you're wanting to come, you want a sense of belonging, you want to have the sense of validation, sense of being seen. And so then you go and create an event or stand on the stage or whatever, and there's this energy that you're like pulling from the audience, and you're making it about yourself. And like, it doesn't work. The audience can feel that. And so I'm grateful for myself, and having done the work that I've done now, that I don't feel like there's always more work to be done, but I don't really feel that void of not having a sense of belonging anymore. So now I'm able to give that energy back. I don't have to make it about me. It's actually got nothing to do with me. And so I'm able to create a container for everyone to go in and make it about their audience. And I think this is a really important job as a facilitator, as a host, and anyone that wants a really great event, is develop the ability to do that. And you know, it might sound cliche, but it really does come from the personal development from within. It's like what you're an activity that you were talking about the other day with filling the cup first. Before going on stage or before creating anything, make sure that your own cup is as full as you can make it to be. So then it's not about you, it's about the audience, to have that safe space, to be vulnerable, to come in. And it really is a big part of what makes our events different. There's one last thing I want to say. It just brings up a conversation I was having a couple of weeks ago with the original founder of the Bansko Nomad Fest, which was one of the most successful, I think the most successful Nomad Fest around the world.
Probably the biggest as well.
The biggest, yeah. And so it went on, got sold, and it's a bit different than what it was when it was first original. But she shared that she's worked in and hosted like 2,000 events now. She got into events at 17. And she's very good at what she does. She never wants to be the face of anything. So I asked if she wanted to be on a podcast. She was like, no, she doesn't want to speak. I'm not even going to mention her name. But anyway, she's very good at what she does. And I was describing the format for Give It All. And she's like, I could see she got a bit awkward or a bit uncomfortable. She goes, that always makes me so uncomfortable when event hosts, they try to create vulnerability within an event, because it nearly never goes well. It just always is so uncomfortable.
Come to Give It All.
And I said to her, well, you got to come along, because I think we've done a pretty good job. I think, you know.
And we don't even ask for it. We don't even push our speakers to do anything in this. We're like, you come as you are, deliver the message you want to deliver. Here we are. We give the space for you. It's up to you. And they choose to take, what's my deepest secret? Okay, I put it on stage.
Yeah, I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of everyone that comes and shares it
Me
because it's not
too.
easy. But I think it does. It comes from that demonstration. You got to be the demonstration of
Yeah.
what you want to see. I think that's a success principle for life. It's for relationships, for business, for communities, for audiences. Is be this demonstration of what you want to see, and it gives permission to others to come and join you in that space. And if you don't do that, you turn up and like there's a lot of communities that they don't do that, and they get, I think businesses get the staff that represents the energy of the owner. You feel that when you go into a cafe.
Yeah.
And so
For
it's the
sure.
same with an event. Yeah.
I just wanted to drop it somewhere here. I want to have a Give It All Summit. So, any big company sponsors that might be watching this episode, just letting you know. Eventually, maybe the franchise topic, I'll consider that, and patenting our brand. That maybe is quite a clever move. But anyway, I'm looking at the time. We are probably going soon into 1 hour. Is there anything you would like to talk about that I've missed on touching up besides Give It All Summit?
Give It All Summit. Yeah, that's somewhere. It's just hosting events here in Bali are really hard. And so
Maybe we move it somewhere else.
And so maybe we can take it somewhere else. The direction that we're going in now that I'm really excited about is creating live production. So our audience is usually 70 in the realm of 70 to 80 people. We probably can't host too much more than that. So we're coming to our limits. Which is amazing. I think it's so cool. But there's so many people that come through Bali and then become part of our community. They're like, oh, I don't want to leave. I want to continue this. And having a massive community in Medellín, and then we went to Bulgaria, and there's a few people there. And
Whoop, whoop.
yeah, actually going back to your point of when people come in, you told me Bulgarians, they're never gonna love this. And I'm like, and it was my challenge. You almost made it a personal challenge to me. Go, let me prove you wrong. I want to demonstrate. I want to prove it to myself as well that when you're the demonstration of what you want to see in the audience, your audience will join you there. They all come in Bulgarians.
What is this gonna be about?
What is in it for me? Impress me. And I'm sitting there, and it was actually really uncomfortable to
was,
walk onto
it
that
was.
stage with a brand new audience. First events are always hard because no one knows. They're all sitting there, and I was just like, fuck it. Like, it was a challenge for me to be me in the face of somebody sitting there feeling like they're judging the fuck out of me. And I was like, don't care. This is me being me. And after the halftime break, or by the halftime and the halftime break, and at the end, people stayed around for so long, drinking, collaborating, and then they came back.
And
the
they
next week.
softened up as well. They were
Yeah.
like, okay.
And you're like, oh my, I have a new respect for Bulgarians in that way.
Yeah.
So so I'd love to bring these communities together, and so where we're moving is live production live production at the live event. And so we have a in-person experience, but we want to take that live production, put it out into virtually, and then bring an international audience into a virtual room where we can enjoy the speakers together live, and then have international networking in the breakout rooms on Zoom. So,
Which might be huge.
well, we can model some of the big greats. There's a lot of tech and there's a lot of organization and building, and we're starting to build this now. So at the time of recording, it's not yet here. I would love to see this all in place by the end of the year. So 2026 going into 2027, that's where we're heading. I'm really looking forward to that and seeing what comes of it. There's a lot of extra services and different things that we can add into. Essentially, just like how Give It All was created, I want to create a community that I've always craved. And so there's so many gaps in different communities that I've been part of. I'm like, I could do that better. I could do this better. And every time now I'm like, well, I have the opportunities to do it better now. I'm giving myself the opportunities, the permission. It's a lot of work. It all takes time. And so like moving from whatever identity I had, coach once upon a time, facilitator, now it's like the architect of it all. It means with that identity, I need to develop leadership skills and delegation skills and bring people in and trusting people to take care of what they need to take care of in the different areas, because I can't take care of it all anymore. So it's exciting. It's definitely a stretch, and people think we make lots of money with it.
Don't think that.
Don't think that. We're starting to turn over some revenue now, which is a nice change. Now, it got to a point where Medellín was awesome. Bulgaria was awesome.
We did it all for free there, by the way.
Well, for us, We made lots of money. Well, we made good revenue from the places who was hosting us.
Yeah, but I mean, we ourselves, we
Yeah,
didn't
but I
earn a
think
coin.
I was paid. Yeah, that was the other thing. Remember when after a few weeks of doing it, I'd lay in bed. I'm like would go what. It was 5:30. It would start, and I'd be still in bed at 4 o'clock on a rainy afternoon. I don't want to get up. Give me some brownies. I don't want to do it. And you're like, come on. And I'm like, why do I keep showing up to this? It's so much work and it's so hard. And you're like, remember where you started. Remember where you started. And there's no way we would have continued this without your help. And even still to this day, honestly, it's true. Consistency is really hard to keep showing up to something that you're not seeing the immediate returns on. But the returns really, and this keeps getting fed back to me, and still to this day, I got to keep trusting that it's true. Is that it's the value of learning, the value of building authority, the value of the connections, the value of just service for other people. There's so many invisible deposits that we're making into the community. There's so many opportunities that we're getting invited to now, which is incredible. I really love that. So rewards is not always financial. But we still need to pay the bills, hopefully sooner rather than later. So, we're monetizing. What the other thing that I'm learning is when you create something that's really valuable to people don't mind paying. So here in Bali, we're like, all right, let's charge $23. That's all they knew because that's what we launched here in Bali. It was 23 Australian dollars. And I got the feedback. People were like, $23, it charged on my credit card $11 because it was an Indonesian rupiah or different things, and it was so much cheaper than what I thought. It was $11 or whatever it was because they they had pounds or US dollars. And then so after the second season, I was like, actually that makes sense. Why Australian dollars? Most people aren't even paying in Australian dollars. So we switched it across to USD, which is a 40% increase. It didn't say anything, just came back, did it, and no one said anything. We got the same attendance, and it's like, oh, okay, well, people will still pay. And in fact, it was a few months after that, people would say, man, Daniel, I love that you charge so much for this event. And I was like, why? Tell me. And they're like, because I know that the people that are coming in are the ones that are also paying because they want to be here. It's not because they didn't have, they didn't have anything better to do, so they're just here, or they're just coming in with one foot in the door, or when people invest, they care. And I think that's a really great motto. If you're going to create a good quality experience, you can charge for it. And then with that money, we've been able to invest it back into an even better quality experience. So investing into the content and the production, and then that elevates our speakers so they have a great experience. And now our speakers are getting invited around the world to speak on different stages.
That's amazing, isn't it?
I think it's so amazing.
So beautiful.
So some people go so we're charging for content authority packages for people to stand on the stage, and we produce, we've got photographers, videographers, we create reels, all this amazing stuff.
I would say our production is actually super high level compared to even other big events. We deliver super high quality content, photos, bureaus, and even post-production videos, where you can go on the biggest summit stages and they get 5 photos from photographer somewhere from the corner, and we make them look like rock stars. So the Give It All stage is definitely going to be growing, the online community, the in-person community. So I'm super, super excited, and Give It All Summit is coming.
Probably not in Bali, but let's take it somewhere.
We'll see. I would say let's wrap it up here because it was absolutely beautiful. We can keep on talking for hours, but I want our audience also to want more, so we can do.
I think the final thing is if anyone is listening to this and hasn't attended, come and attend. And if you want to speak on the stage, this is the criteria for speaking on the stage, is having attended and you see the opportunity. I think it's so cool seeing people see this opportunity and then give themselves permission to take the opportunity and then share their message on the stage. I'm not looking for professional speakers. That's not what this is about. This is about the people that were like me, that just would love to get their message out. They know they got wisdom, value, insights to share with the world, the experience, and they just needed the opportunity, and they see it and they say, awesome, I'm going for that.
Let's go.
So come along.
We're looking forward to your speeches, your attendance, and seeing you live in Bali or somewhere else in the world.
Amazing. High five to that.
Yay! It's a wrap.